Hello, Danger Noodles. We'll be diving into Dreads and Circuses. The Hermit, basically a story hub of Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting. But before I start, is anyone else here? I assume not, but that's fine. I guess I'll just start. The Herman's Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting. Alas, our renowned founder's namesake is no longer with us. No one seems quite sure where he's got off to. I can't say he certainly saw the error of his ways and become a missionary with the Mana Foundation to atone for his misdeeds. The colonel said he kindly would afford a full of the of beast. Even he could tame and whatever felt of it left of now fertilizes a patch of brown grass somewhere. The man with an upside down face says good riddance. Whatever his late, it is certain that Herman Fuller is gone, and surely someone somewhere must mourn him. But the show must go on. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Herman Fuller's circus of the disquieting, as Proto announced the new master of ceremonies. She stated off as just another runaway, but through her she's talent and determination, she she clawed her way up to them from magician to clown to truth pleader and now to the ringmaster of the circus itself. I give you the beautiful, the astonishing, the magical Jackie. Come with us now on my sparkling journey through the impossible. Glimpse the wondrous magic and powers that can conspire to keep the hidden. Experience the awe and terror of the world that forever lies just out of view. Welcome to Dread Circuses. Alright. The first opening act. Go big or go home. Looks like a pig. Go big or go home. It isn't so uncommon. The wooden grinding of wheels against gravel that pops as pebbles are crushed against one another and spat into the air. The trot of hooves and the smell of horse dung the wagons carry with them. No, that doesn't catch my attention. They are merely integrated sneaking in through the window at night, coming to rest on my pillow and whispering new dreams into my head. Dreams of a white-covered carriage and a handsome, humble craftsman, extending his hand to me to pull me in with him and take me somewhere fantastic. No, these ordinary sounds only lull me deeper. It is the hooting and hollering that wakes me up proper. My eyes crack open. I wonder if the pup down the street has left its door ajar. But I listen to the night. It only fills with more and more cheering. I set up celebrations at this time of night. I look out my window at the looming orange moon, shifting as if were the amorphous smoke of the house next door. Midnight at least, an unholy hour to be awake for any girl my age. My heavy head urges me back to sleep, and I nearly follow it, curiosity dwindling, before my nose catches on to a peculiar aroma. One or two deep huffs of air, and all my senses come back in full, awake, alert, and excited. There is a moment's pause as I listen to the night and my body regains its energy. The occasion calls for stealth. Mother wouldn't be so happy finding me wasting my youth on nightly strolls again. I get out of bed and imagine my feet as mouse paws. I slip on something more appropriate for an outing, but I rush and leave behind a fair deal of unusuals. A fair deal of my usuals. I put on my dress but forgo plenty of the ribbons, and I don't don my socks but forget to pull them high. A hat seems ridiculous for a night as warm as this, but I let my hair down because a braid would take too long. Besides, I only have so many good clothes, and the streets are muddy. Another rise in the waves of whoops hastens my trip. I tiptoe past my mother's room on the second floor, and then I run a pitter-patter down the stairs. In the pitch dark of the shop, I fumble for the keys on the counter and let myself out the front door. The night is warm and inviting. Summer reaches even here in the foothills, for rain pools between all the cracks and crevices, and the air is humid for a foreseeable eternity. The 1 and 2 story buildings come up everywhere. Terrain is flat enough. Betwixt the verdant alders, beeches, and grass. When I was very little, there used to be a family for every house. But now half the smokestacks are empty, and most windows are never lit. Somewhere far, but not too far, the city has drawn the eyes of my neighbors. I lock the door behind me and breathe deep. Above the damp soil comes that smell. The smell I've only smelled so many times. So much stronger than I've ever imagined I could smell it. Sweet and delicious sugar. I hear more substance in the yells as I drew closer. The crowd huddled outside of the pub. They are shouting bets. 4 shillings, 8. The crowd's ooze and at the jump doubling, and some louder demanding voices rises above it. "A melon of action anymore." As I approach, I glimpse a basket passing between the hands of men and their consorts, a crowd of drunkards and the occasional whore, all gleefully tossing coins at the taller man prancing around with the basket. His extended gait gives me a pause. The way he stumbles about and nearly falls over, it looks like he must be walking on short stilts. His face comes with a modest patch of beard just below his lip, and a bright bristly mustache. He is clean and groomed enough to be taken for a higher class, if not for a poorly concealed patch seams sometimes caught by the fire's light. When I look at him, the senses clarify. The smell, the sweet is his. Oh, I think well done. He bellows. I sneak up just to the lowest edge so that my small stature might be lost in the darkness, and the rowdiness won't suck me in. I find a log among the gravel and sit on it. The stout man wobbles back to the center of the crowd, standing just behind the fire, which throws long shadows from his legs across his chest and face. His mere stature and presence hushes the crowd into a captivated pause, deeper and louder than before. I'll bring you a relic from a distant land. When the sun's twist and hurled through the wind, and the sun crests so close to the earth, you can feel its burn from the rays of the hand. To the south and to the east, to the wide deserts of the horizon, to horizon, from sea to sea, the clouds are made of dust, and the sky is red with fire. He begins to stride carefully and slowly towards the front lines of the audience. And yet, in this place, for God's name, it's foreign. They practice strange magic, a witchcraft that seldom graces the Western world. But in my travels, I stumbled on this swarthy man, playing his tricks for scraps at the pub, and past his wrappings there was a terrible power in those dark eyes. The power that every same power I bring to amaze and astound you tonight. And now I present the Wanderer himself, the mysterious, exotic, all-seeing Zoltan. Behind the stout man from the back of the wagon emerges a man the likes of which I have never seen. His head is wrapped in black purple cloth so that only his eyes and the bridge of his nose are visible. The thin straps of hair come through and hang around his face, further obscuring his eyes, and behind that curtain a fire dances within him, brought to life in his pupils and shining like a cat's. As he moves, there is a slight jingling that brings me to think of a jeweler. The crowd laughs as he starts to circle around the fire, small chips of metal on his cloak catching the embers and sparkling like stars. He closes his eyes and walks so close to the flames, I fear his clothes might catch. Take your seats. The stout man sits. Zoltan draws your names from the ether. The crowd dutifully sits on the ground or wherever is available, some in the dirt and some on the stools, with a shaky hand, strong and dirty grace, with tarnished bent rings on each finger. Sultan reaches to his forehead and smooths the cloth back. When he takes his hand off below, it is an eye, painted red and purple that glistens like grease in the flickering light. Sultan starts making great motions with his hands, extended to the crowd, like he really is pulling names out of people's heads. He takes deep breaths, and the crowd chuckles at his theatrics. Get on with it, someone slurs. Quiet. The showrunner bites. This naturally takes time. So Sultan winks an eye open to glare at the offender, and he goes back to his blind wondering. Eventually, he lands on one woman and puts his hands on her head. The man with his arm around her seems to lean and slap him off before he can. Smith. Sultan announces. The lady looks around with a stupid smile on her face, her mouth agape.
Hey, any girl can have it.
Sultan points to the interruption. Nick Colon. That's just a pretty click. Sultan continues around the circle, either in order or singing someone out if they interrupt. Padraig O'Della, Fergus, Samuel, Jack Abner, Edmund Fignow. He turns his finger to someone milling about the back. You. You wouldn't like it if I said your name. Ariston Enderman chuckles and waved a hand at Sultan, confirming his suspicion. The crowd oozed, and soon people had forgotten all about the wager, and are simply raising their hand, asking the Sultan guess their name. Albert. In my words. Maurice. My daughter. Trick question. Sultan stares and turns away from him with some flair. She isn't born yet. Another round of pointing and naming. Audrey Elmer, Leon Fetchler, and that one. Sultan seems to reach above the crowd to point at Selma Bridges. The crowd departs on their own sloppy, clumsy way, so that no one stands between myself and Sultan. His finger unerring, his stance like a fancy swordsman, so that his side is to me and his chin is turned up.
Oh, oh, oh.
Sultan reminds me of his presence.
A young girl stumbled into our midst. And what are you doing up so late?
I stand and stutter.
Me? I.
Stut man strides up to me, looking violently off balance, and yet staying upright the whole time, until he was just in front of me. Even as he kneels to greet me, he is nearly twice my height.
Little girl. You surely don't want to be one with this crowd of hooligans and ne'er-do-wells. Aren't ladies like you tucked in bed at this hour?
I try to get out the sound, but he just continues.
Oh, or could it be?
Leans in close enough that I take a step back, but then pulls something out of his shirt pocket. His voice lowered.
This?
The smell. With him backlit by the fire, I can't make out the object he holds, but then he is standing and pacing back to the jeering crowd, upset as they were by the hooligan title. But where he goes, he leaves a trail, and I, the end, follow the pheromone. I toddled forward, trying to keep up with him and whatever he has in his hands, and it seems the rest of the drunkards start to notice.
All the good stuff.
One astutely observes.
Didn't you run out?
The Sultan doesn't respond, and Sultan obediently relinquishes the spotlight. His glittering cloak that only give away his presence behind the silhouettes of the crowd. He begins the circle.
Right now. There's always room for dessert. And we have a special guest now, don't
Once I am well within the boundaries of the audience, he leans down again, and I see that he is holding a single candied nut, like those I remember from Christmas. Just this, my eyes widened. There's such a smell from such a small thing. But I must have it. My hand reaches out, and I and he gingerly places the candy into my palm. The audience boos my special treatment. The stuntman ignores them, only watching me chew. It is like nothing I'd ever tasted, sweet beyond compare. To such a degree my teeth hurt. Its surface cuts my mouth like a pot grape. Its juice is nutty, indecadent, and overwhelming. For a moment I can only imagine that I have eaten that which belonged only to royalty, that I have stolen from some forbidden wealth and will soon be punished. But instead, a warm feeling fills my body from head to toe. I feel my cheeks flush and my head fill with air. I nearly fall, but stick out a foot to catch myself.
Wow, that little lady has little tolerance, doesn't she?
The words whirl in my head like they're from another place, and everything left is taste. The colors in my world become coated with candy, the fire rising smoke turning into a cottony pink cloud. The patchwork suit of the platform man dissolves into wild shapes that play and champ at each other, and when he speaks, his mouth sheds a light like a jack-o'-lanterns. He grabs my arm to keep me on my feet, and then shakes his head with someone far away from a mob craves that very candy he has given me.
No more.
He fends them off.
She's a special guest. My daughter. My heavens, if I knew you would be so rowdy, I wouldn't have made her part of the act.
I couldn't argue because I haven't the head to tell if he is right or wrong. He lifts me up and puts me on his back, like he's protecting me from a pack of wolves. With my head so light, it feels like a mountain, like he is lifting me into the heavens. And I am at once afraid to fall back down. I begin to mew and moan as best as I can with my will so distorted and my muscles so disobedient of my commands, and he seems to interpret this as my fear of the drunken fools.
Well then, our act must be on the road at once. You people simply can't control yourselves. Toodaloo, and may we never meet again.
He waves Sultan over, who looks like a spattering of the cosmos itself, and we all retreat into the wagon through the back. As we enter, the smell becomes more than a mere scent, but the air itself is like we stepped into a sugar oven. The air is warm and intoxicating, so much so that I nearly faint. Our little lady is
A little lady is heavy. Sultan, lay out some sheets for her, and here, pull us out of here. We've collected our dues this night. I don't want to remain for the aftermath.
I moan, trying to get some kind of word to come out. Where are we going? I need to be home. But nothing happens.
What's what? What's our change look like? Enough for a feast at the next town over, and the cleaning of our ladies' hooves. What's this that?
The Stiltman says, placing me on some bench where I sunk over immediately, only able to gently wave my hands outstretched in front of my face and watch the fingers turn from 10 to 20 to 30 until I blink and the duplicates away. I feel something gentle and wooden coat me from the shoulders to my feet.
There. Result.
Selden says, I close my eyes, make it go away. I silently wish Make it go away, make it go away. Your head spins no matter how much I will against it. Make this all go away.
There,
That man agrees.
she can save the sugar out. Live up thee.
Her voices start to get very far away. What do we do with her? There's a pause, or maybe I slip out the consciousness for a second there before I hear the response.
Yeah, find somewhere discreet for the night.
Cricket's song, wet leaves on my wet cheek. I'm lying down somewhere dark, light from the corners of my vision, my ears tuned to voice tones.
An animal's hot trick. Do you see what I'm saying?
Some mumbles of agreement. I blink my eyes, my head still light but clearer. My mouth doesn't respond to my once, and neither does the rest of my body. However, with little wiggling I can accomplish, I quickly come my against restraints. She's awake, some noodle voice says.
Thank you, Hare. I never would have known.
I hear steps, the warm night air meets with my flushing cheeks. To wriggle my jala, only to find my mouth is open, but there's nothing in it. Tied around my head, I create some kind of sound, weak as it is, a moan or some such up from my sternum.
Well,
Shonrunner asked.
any other idea?
My ankles are bound and my wrists are tied behind my back. The dirt meets my skin from my temple to my feet. Fear starts to crowd out the lingering effects of the candy. My muscles tense. I can see nothing but some shifting shadows from the flickering light of a lantern behind me. A tolerant squeal comes through to my throat, and I start to fight hard against the restraints, only accomplishing a change in position from my side to the prone.
Ah,
I hear the rumbling of two pieces of wood together.
it appears I didn't hire conversationalists, did I?
I start to find some kind of rhythm in screaming, which makes me gain ground against their voices. Progress meaning direction. I start to move as fast as I can, like a little worm who's never been a worm before, pushing against the dirt and towards whatever else. A boot is shoved underneath my stomach and flips me onto my back. Up me there is a stuntman without the stilts. A traveling entertainer. A lantern from other source illuminates only the right side of his face. But his eyes catch some flick of the flyer to give them orange coloring pupils that stare down at me through the thick fog of terror and dread.
You are like vision.
He says. He takes one deep breath and then crouches down. I try to wriggle away, but he places his hands on my shoulders and pushes me down into the earth, pinning me. His orange eyes spear through my head. I tried my best to look away, but only when I close my eyes can I escape this awful gaze. He studies me like the men study meat at the butcher.
Hello, you.
He whispers almost only breathes. For a moment, he only looks at me. I hear the shuffling of feet from somewhere with me to my right. There is a cough, and the entertainer looks up, his mustache catching on the light, hanging in the air with a perfect coil.
Do you need help?
Taylor asked. His eyes returned to me.
No, no. I'm just getting a sense of a newest edition. Selma. Hello, Selma. I'm Herman. Herman Fuller. And I get the sense that we're going to get along swimmingly. I'm giving you the opportunity to be part of something bigger, something grander, a spectacle for the world to see and love. Only we have to make you something lovable first. And well, that process isn't so easy.
He holds something up to the lantern light that I can't quite make out.
In other words, soft gag. And you may feel a little pinch.
I scream as the wooden blade goes through my right side and out the back. I scream again as the second one mirrors it, and both pin me into the forest floor. My vision swims, and my world loses itself to the shearing of my flesh and the pooling blood underneath my bare back. He stands above me, impassive though I can hardly make him out, past the tears pooling in my eyes.
Zoltan, Kami.
He leaves my vision, every motion, every straining of muscle, only pulls out the wounds of my loins, new orifices leaking my lifeblood. I cry and screech, but the gag muffles my attempts. I hear some kind of physicality.
Kami. I need you to be here for this. You want the first Sultan, and if you're lucky, you can be the last. Do you understand me?
A pause. The crickets have ceased their calls, the stage of my suffering. Of course. He replies, too quiet.
Progress is hard, Sultan. Progress takes fucking effort. I thought you told me. I have the heart for it. I thought you told me I have the gift. Now come here, Sultan, and look at it. Look at progress. Look at it in the eyes.
My cries redouble as a boot stumps the blade further into my side, sawing through my tissue as it goes.
Just you wait. One day, this will be a whole industry. Someone can be on the ground using their hands, and I'll call the shots. But you have to work hard to never walk again. And the work. Oh, the work.
He crouches down and rests both hands on the handles of the wooden knives, staring into my face of agony again.
I'm not very practiced at glowing fire. Selma, I declare that you, then, will be our fantastically intelligent pig. I think that will really sell enough flyers, don't you?
His fingers drum on the handles, and then he stands again. He breathes deep and pumps his arms back and forth.
And a one, and a two, and a three.
He plummets his hands into my stomach with such force that I immediately vomit and begin to choke. He starts to mutter in some language I can't understand. Not that I, not that I can't listen for words, not that my mind is taken with a fire clog in my mouth, preventing the passage of air from my nose to my lungs, burning into my esophagus. But his hand goes through my skin like his arm, and my cuts have molded into one vein. And I begin to feel some things long and serpentine shoot out the point of impact beneath my skin, reaching into my extremities and into my hands and feet. One then coming through the meat of my neck and wrapping around the back of my head. His muttering continues, and the blades begin to burn. My body changes. First, my belly expands, swelling like a balloon, standing with my stomach, but the blood reaches up to my chest and it starts to blow through my neck. Once the transformation reaches my head, something worse begins to happen. My cheeks extend, and I can feel my bones stretch and break, and reform and stretch again. The bridge of my nose pulls forward like a sapling, reaching towards the sun, and my nostrils turn up at the end where there forms a flat face. My eyes drift to the side of my head, and my ears pull up to the top. My cries start to change their tone from gargled screams to seeks to squeals. My limbs pull at the restraints as there's like a stretch and their flexibility limits. My wrists break free, first pulling in front of me as they're angled up towards the sky, and at the ends of my fingers are encased together, and the new hooves made from my extending fingernails. My legs soon follow suit. At the back end of my spine grows and pushes against my skin, fracturing and stretching and healing and flexing again. As soon as it stops. It changes with back to the point of origin, and his hand pulls out of my putty-like stomach, which in its absence hardens into something closer to the skin. He stands the full height and looks down at me, my still human eyes leaking tears from new system I'm not familiar with. My stubby arms turned legs waving into the air, while he inhales, snorting and squealing. He breathes heavily.
Well, that was unpleasant.
He brushes some dirt off with his pants, where he kneels on the ground. He turns to his compatriots.
Looks like a pig.
I hear some grunts of affirmation. I start making noise and just lay there, breathing heavily, my lungs weighted by my new layers of fat. Everything feels wrong.
Good. Maybe we can make it walk on two legs, or do math. Fantastically intelligent pig. Let's think of a name on the right. Hey, go drag it into the wagon. It should be too tight to fight.
He's right. I don't have good enough control of my body to fight him. Hair heaves my rotund figure with ease and carries me back into the cart. Along the way, the entertainer reunites my gag and throws it to the ground, coated as it is in bile. They toss me in, and the header goes around to the front. The cart begins to move as the entertainer and Zoltan sit on either side of me. I just lay and heave.
How's this, Sultan? Herman's Fuller's Precautions Prince and Pig. Eh?
The pause is pregnant. I like it, Sultan replies. Herman takes one sharp breath and reaches over to pat Sultan on the cheek.
I knew you'd come around.
He leans back into his seat and spreads his arms along the headrest, then takes his glittering eyes and looks down towards me.
We'll all be big one day. You just wait and see. Like one big happy family.
He laughs, careless that no one joins him. And that is it of this first act into this hub of Go Big or Go Home. I need to take a swig of my drink or so far. I just read the next one. The next opening act. Herman Fuller can shove it up his ass. You're gonna want to insert it rectally. Not sure where you would else you insert it. Also, hello, Gin Apple. Now, what's this? Site 87, Sauce Pit, Wisconsin. Oh, it's another story hub. Save it. Go to that at some point. Before I start, let's see what. Okay. So this looks like it just goes to. Yeah, it just goes to stories within Sloth's Pit. Okay. Just want to make sure. Herman's Fuller can shove it up his ass. The bottom Sloth's Pit, 1970. The bottomless pit was in Jeffrey Hummel's usual watering hole. Its clientele was mostly comprised of tourists, truckers, and other passers-through. Locals seldom ventured there, and when they did, it was usually for less than respectable reasons. Jeffrey was grateful for the bitter February cold that allowed him to conceal his identity under heavy clothes without suspicion. Nevertheless, he had waited until after dark, until heading into the undisputable dive, parking several blocks away and cutting through the alleys to make sure he wasn't seen. When he stepped inside, he left his scarf in place, scanning the entire room for anyone he knew. Squinting in the dim lights and thick cigarette smoke, he recognized no one but the barkeep, a barkeep who knew how much his customers valued their privacy and could be trusted not to snitch. Satisfied with his anonymity, he made his way back to the back booth. He had been told that two men would be waiting for him there. One tall and skinny, and the other tall and muscular. The booth was occupied by two men, but there was also a young woman with them. and his contact had made no one mention of that. Jeffrey took another round the bar just to make sure that these were the people he was supposed to meet with. A larger man whistled sharply at them and waved them over. Jeffrey swallowed nervously and sat down to join him. There were 4 pints of ale already at the table.
We ordered for you. Oh, that's all right.
The larger man said, his tone making it clear it made very little difference whether it was alright or not. Jeffrey's eyes widened as he was now able to see that this man had an upside-down face.
Of course it's alright. Why wouldn't it be?
The slender man asked rhetorically, raising the pint glass and taking an exaggerated sniff.
It's some fine brew. I don't believe I've ever had pumpkin ale before. Made from local produce from your own farm, if not mistaken, Mr. Humble.
Jeffrey sighed and pulled down his scarf.
Yeah, that's me. I don't suppose you'd be inclined to tell me who you are.
He asked.
No, we would. Herman P. Fuller. Herman Fuller Circuses Squatty. The greatest show in all the worlds. Oh wait, wrong voice. Herman P. Fuller. Of Herman's Fuller Circus of the Squatty. The greatest show in all the worlds. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The second man replied enthusiastically. The man with the upside-down face shook his head.
This is my bodyguard, Manfred Mannington Mandarino Mansfield. Well, the partner, and that's not my name. And the striking young lady beside me is
Herman, if you introduce me as Leslie Van one more time, I swear to God. She said.
Veronica. Her name is Veronica.
Fuller said.
She's nobody. Don't worry about her. I know you were only expecting 2 of us, but when Veronica heard we were heading to the bottomless pit, she insisted on tagging along.
Cindy and Jessie is supposed to hang out there. I've never been with a tulpa before, and I'm hoping she and I can go bumper to bumper. Veronica said as she sipped her ale. Hebel, how does this whole tulpa thing work anyway? Well, just thinking about her attract her attention, or do I have to say her name 3 times or something?
Listen, I don't want to be rude. I was hoping I could make our little swap to be on my way.
Pablo replied.
Oh, yes, of course. Who are we to say no to a Carson?
Herman asked with a smug smile. I'm not a carcist. Jeffrey whispered, grateful for the ambient drone of a conversation. Hum of the furnace and blare of the jukebox that made it nearly impossible for anyone to overhear them.
I'm not even a psychic anymore. Not really. You can't tell anyone about me, ever. Neo-psychics don't take kindly to apostates.
And how exactly did a small town Midwestern farmer end up becoming A neo-sarkic. The man with an upside-down face asked. Does that matter? For what you're asking, you bet it matters. We didn't come here to get fleeced, and if your story doesn't add up, we're walking.
If you really need to know, I came down with lung cancer a while back. Being from Sloth's pit, I knew magic was real. So I figured there had to be some kind of magic out there that could cure me. The search eventually led me to the Wanderer's Library, and there I was able to locate a flesh carver. I begged him to cure me, promised me anything if he would. Yes, that I pledged my soul to Ion.
Hmm. Sarkics aren't known for being evangelical. I'm pretty sure they disown kids born into Sarkism more often than they let in outsiders. The man with an upside-down face said, what made you so special?
Apparently, the guy had been looking for an apprentice, or some kind of help with his work. My botanical skills, my knowledge of the supernatural made me a decent candidate for flesh carving, and my desperation made it easy to control. You cured me. In exchange, I was to serve as his apprentice for 7 years. After that, he would have sponsored my entrance into the house as an Orin. But neo-Sarkics are really weird. Most people agree that they're evil, but everyone can agree they're weird. I declined his offer and came back to Sloth's pit. Now I have a wife and kids. My condolences. Wait. My condolences.
Herman says,
And I just want to put all this weird circuit stuff behind me and have a normal life with them. I removed all my grafts, reversed all my mutations, and pulled this little bastard out of my guts.
he reached into his coat and pulled out the glass mason jar, inside of which was a coiled white worm. Herman immediately grabbed the jar and held it for an inspection.
That's what he wanted, right? An Aculoth, his sacred white worm that can cure any illness and boost regenerative abilities. Enough to let you live forever if you're skilled enough. It can also produce mutagenic enzymes. But unless you're a carcist, I wouldn't recommend that.
And you just plain don't want it anymore? Veronica asked skeptically.
I need to sever all ties with my Sarkic past. I am burning that bridge forever.
Is
Is that said?
Herman asked.
Then what, I pray tell, is
Herman nodded over the bulletin board across from them. Among its many posted items was a newspaper clipping of Jeffrey, along with his son and daughter standing proudly next to an enormous pumpkin.
biggest pumpkin in the whole county. Literally broke the scale, yada yada yada. Are you telling me you grew that with nothing more than good old American hardwood?
Jeffrey grinned.
Okay, maybe I'm still using a little granola sarcasm to boost my crop yields. But I completely renounce neo-sarcasm. And I've dedicated being a good husband and father now. So yeah, I'm providing my family the best life I can give them. But I don't want anything more to do with worms or tentacles or turning people's bodies into actual temples. Manny, what do you think?
Fuller asked. The man with the upside-down face stared intently at Jeffrey for a moment, so much so that he couldn't shake the feeling the man was prodding into his very soul. I think he is telling the truth. The worm's probably genuine, the man replied. I still don't think this is a good idea.
That's why I'm the boss and you're a freak. I let out the fin to intimidate people.
Fuller said, examining the jar with intense interest.
So, what's the deal with this thing, Hubble? Do I just swallow it, or...
Oh no, oh no, it takes too long to work its way down. You'll suffocate. You're going to want to insert it rectally. Herman and the man with the upside-down face looked at him with disbelief, while Veronica burst out into laughter.
Veronica, you shut your mouth this instant.
Herman ordered.
That's not what neo-psychics do, is they?
No, they do a big ritual and cut an incision into the torso and let the worm crawl in. Jeffrey replied, but they're pretentious assholes. Why go through all that when you already have a pretentious asshole? Veronica laughed.
Veronica, I said shut your mouth.
Listen, it is up to you. If you want to cut a big enough hole in your torso for this thing to wiggle in, and then wait for it to heal you, that's your business. All I know is that if I had the choice, I would have just let it in through my butt. And how did you go about removing this little guy? Manny asked. Rectally. I passed it like it was a tapeworm. Jeffrey replied.
It's a slimy fella, so it's easily lubricated. Honestly, it'll be painless. And once it's in, it'll just work its magic.
Herman asked.
Well, no. If you let it, it will gorge itself on your blood and gorge like a tumor. You need to have enough mastery over your own body to limit its food supply. Send it hormonal signals and whatnot. You can do that, can't you? I was told you had studied Circuism. I studied a little bit of everything, my good man. I can shepherd flesh and craft clockwork with the best of them. Wow, when I was a boy.
Don't get me started on that. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Manny objected. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a velvet case, opened it to reveal a pocket which adorned with Aconite symbols. This is what we're offering in exchange. It's pure beryllium bronze that was designed, handcrafted, and blessed by Mechanite priest. It's intended to ward against psychic or spiritual attacks. But if you keep it on your person long enough, it should cleanse you of any lingering psychic forces. Not even the most powerful clairvoyants will be able to tell you you used to be a flesh carver. Jeffrey gingerly accepted the case and picked up and watched by his chain to examine it. It was a thing of exquisite beauty, clearly crafted with both love and skill. He opened it and then its glass face proudly exposed its inner workings, ticking away as faithfully as their craftsman.
It burns a little. I guess that means it's holy. Frankly, I deserve worse.
He said.
We have a deal then.
Herman asked with a hopeful, crooked smile.
I just want to make it clear that the deal is final. If anything goes wrong with that worm, I'm not responsible for it. It worked fine inside of me for years, so if you can't control it, that's all on you. Yes, yes, buyer beware. Don't you worry about me, son.
Herman said with a dismissive wave of his hand.
We have a deal then.
Jeremy nodded, pocketing the case inside of his coat.
Thanks for the ale, fellas.
Picking up his pint, he left for the other side of the bar.
A broken one-up toy in exchange for eternal life.
Herman chuckled.
Am I the world's greatest con artist or what?
You're something, Fuller, Veronica said with a roll of her eyes. Oh, that's her. That redhead at the bar. It's Jessie. Wish me luck, guys. Fuller gave her an absent nod, his attention focused on his recently acquired pliers.
What do you think, Manny? Should I insert it the way he said to?
Not until a few more rounds of ale.
Agree.
Several days later, an anemic and delirious Herman Fuller lay in his bed with a seemingly bloated stomach. Bernie, I don't know what you're so upset about. It's not like she needs awful paws. Oh, wait, whoops.
Bernie, I don't know what you're so upset about. It's not like she needs awful paws.
He mumbled. Manny and Veronica stood over him, staring down at him with disgust. Traded up prices, a Hecate artifact for an intestinal parasite. World's greatest con artist indeed. Manny said with a sad shake of his head.
How can they expect us to return books on time when the library's outside of time?
Fuller rapped.
It's a scam.
Shh, should we help him? Veronica asked. To say, why won't you let me have it on credit? You know I'm good for it. Well, we'll probably regret it, but yeah. Man, Manny said, come on, help me get him to Tinkles. Manny lifted him up and stood on his right to support him, while Veronica stood to his left.
Dear Lord, I seem to have sprouted 2 extra heads. One of them's upside down.
Herman complained. Just try to stay calm, Fuller. We'll get you fixed up in no time. Manny assured him. Hey, I can watch Tinkles pull the snake out of his butt, right? Veronica asked with a devious smile.
We'll let everyone.
Manny smirked back. And that is Herman Fuller can shove it up his ass.
Anyways, I'll be right back. I gotta go into intermission. Alright, I'm back. Alright. The next opening act. Clown Breeding 101 with Professor Richard C. Normus. My Grimpy once turned a kid inside out. I shit you not. Oh god. Clown Breeding 101 with Professor Richard C. Normus. Jesus Christ, look at the lot of you. I've seen some pretty fucked up freaks in my day, but you cocksuckers take the upside down kick. Alright, calm down. I don't mean anything by it. It's just that you're ugly is all. Oh, don't be a bunch of pussies. You've been called out worse things than ugly, and you know it. But I digress. Mr. Fuller here has recently brought me onto his staff and asked that I take a moment of my highly valuable time to introduce myself to you and explain what it is I'll be doing. The name's Dick. Dick C. Normus. And yes, that's my real name. It's a hell of a lot more dignified than whatever clown monkey you ended up with. Am I wrong? What's your name, Big Nose? Tinkles? Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, I beg your pardon. Dr. Tinkles. That just makes it more ridiculous, you asshat. Anyway, you can call me Dixie, and I'll call you whatever the fuck I feel like, considering most of you are essentially indentured servants. I'll be, oh my fuck, I already told you it's my real name. Why would I lie? Stop your damn snickering. You all have the maturity of a bunch of grade school dropouts, because surprise, that's where you are. Accepting of the course the esteemed Dr. Tinkles. Getting a PhD at a clown college kind of proves you're an idiot. Which is the opposite of what you want a PhD to do. Moving on to the matter of why I'm here. None of you are good enough. Okay, pipe down. I said pipe down. Shut up! All I mean is that Mr. Fuller here has standards. And that you freaks aren't living up to them. Oh no, don't worry. None of you are being kicked out or asked yet. It'll take years to make enough replacements for everyone. Mr. Fuller has hired me to make a designer freaks, and I mind balling you clowns in particular. I've got a lot of ideas what I can do with you sad sacks of shit. Now, you may be wondering, what are my credentials to play God so glibly? Though not as far articulated, because you're all dumb stumps. Well, you see, I came from a long line of child breakers, or campechino, chicos, as they say in Spanish. What's a child breaker, you say? I know none of you said anything. I was being rhetorical. All I was saying is you stop by taking a job. Maybe some starving street urchins never had anyone look after them. Maybe a bride that's so spoiled rotten they have no idea what suffering really is. It don't really matter. But once you pick a kid, you break every bone in their body. Beat them with an itch of their life. You set the bones and flesh to heal the way you want them to. Add a little, no, something. Rinse and repeat. As necessary until you got yourself a bona fide freak. Then you take the worthless, broken shell of a person and show them on the stage to be leered and gawked at by complete strangers, so they will know they're not human anymore. That they will never be loved or accepted by society again. And their only hope to keep their wretched lives is keep exhibiting themselves for your personal profit. Now that's comedy. But that was the old way of doing things. As fun as it was, it had its limitations. A person can only be mutilated so much before they can take no more. And they kick the bucket on you. Though you'd be surprised at how much the body can take. My grampy once turned a kid inside out, I shit you not. What are you throwing one up for? It wasn't disgusting. It was a work of art. You. Mm, don't worry if it makes you queasy, because that's all in the past. Breeding a freak so that you grow up into a monster to begin with allows for much more radical modifications than breaking a normal kid. I've got some ideas for quite a truly horrific abominations. That's what I need you clowns for. Mr. Fuller tells me he picked up the first few whilst he was traipsing across the multiverse. As amazing as your towns are, you require certain interventions to be made show ready. Those interventions don't always work, so sometimes you go all Pennywise on the audience. Yes, yeah, Pennywise, that's what I said. Pennywise from the clown It, you numbskull. It by Stephen King. Oh, you guys are just fucking me with right now. How can literally none one here have heard of It? Never mind, it's not important. Not important. What's important is that you originals can sometimes be quite the liability. So Fuller tells me he let you start experimenting on runways to see if you can convert humans into clowns. That's pretty fucked up. Now, I'm obviously in no position to judge. For the sake of comparison, let's just take a look at a converted clown. One of you stand up. Yeah, you. Well, hello, nurse. What's your name, sweetheart? Icky. Is that supposed to be ironic? You're the only clown here that's fuckable. Well, what? It's a compliment. You know, unlike your fine self, my name is not a misnomer. Trust me, it's enormous. Don't believe me? Just take a look at this tent I'm pitching. That's only at half mast. You don't think this is real? If you want, I'll whip it out in front of everyone and yes, Mr. Fuller. I apologize. I've gone off topic. Returning to the matter of what we were talking about, comparative clowning, right? Honestly, so much blood goes into my cock. It's a damn miracle I don't pass out. Anywho, you'll note how the converted clowns such as Icky retains this much more human appearance relative to the original clowns. Though this may come with some benefit of a more manageable temper as far as Mr. Fuller and I are concerned, it's still a step in the wrong direction. We want clowns that are even more amazing than the originals, without any of the violence, and while we're at it, a hell of a lot dumber. I know I said you guys was dumb, but you're still too smart for your own good, you know. I'm thinking something closer to a dog's intelligence level would be great. Smart enough to learn tricks, but too dumb to bitch about Mr. Fuller, shall we say, Victorian era management style. How am I gonna create such beautiful, such perfect freaks of nature, you ask? 2 words. Selective breeding. What's with all the blank faces? No one ever explained the birds and the bees to you. It's real simple. You take a mommy and a daddy that each has traits you like and get them to mate. You do the same thing with the offspring you like and call the rejects. Or if you're the sentimental type, you can neuter them and send them off to a good home. After a few generations, you got yourself a bona fide pedigree. Pedigree clowns. How does that sound? Fancy, right? Aw, there you go again. What the hell are you talking about? You have rights and dignity. Dignity? You're delusional. Or you've never even seen yourself in a mirror. You're clowns for fuck's sakes. You don't have dignity. You have giant shoes and tiny cars, but not dignity. No Fuller, Mr. Fuller, do these losers or any of the other schmucks you have own the have rights and or dignity. No? Didn't think so. But you can all cool your jets. Because that's not how I'm going to do it with you anyway. It takes too goddamn long. No, no, no. I have something a little more sophisticated in mind. I know this is a dumb question before I ask it, but do any of you know what iterated embryo selection is? Nobody? What about you, Dr. Tinkles? Did that Ivy League education of yours not cover designer babies? I have in my possession some rather advanced reprogenic paratechnology that was generously and unknowingly donated by some folks at Prometheus Labs. With this equipment, I can make a bunch of test tube babies, read their genomes, and pick the ones I want. Then turn their stem cells into sex cells and make a whole new generation of embryos. The old generation goes in the trash, and you all start over. I'll be using your fun lovers as brood mares for the final product. What would you rather? Use your own lady clowns? Because I don't use real dames for breeding no more. It's too much of a goddamn nightmare getting the babies away from them. I've even had a few run off on me. And what I'm making here is far too valuable to risk losing. Fun lovers are the best option, trust me. They don't give a shit about their kids once they pop out. And they're not gonna leave the circus. And best of all, they produce plenty of milk. I wish to God it came out of the tits instead of that. But otherwise, they're perfect. This method is at least 100 times faster than traditional selective breeding, and I'll be able to accomplish truly amazing things. This circus will be unrecognizable when I'm done with it, and yet I can already see that I have some detractors. What? You have a moral objectation of what I'm doing? You're all a bunch of Bible thumpers all of a sudden. You're a horde of unholy assholes. Your God hates you. I don't have the rights to use your genetic material without your consent. We've already established that you don't have rights. I have full consent. That's all I fucking need. You got a problem with that? Feel free to grab your bindle and hit the road. Give my regards to the Skippy Foundation, or God help you, those goddamn global occult Nazi bastards. Any takers? Hmm? That's what I thought. Look, it ain't that bad. For now, all you have to do is spit in a tube, and once I go over your DNA and other records, I'll get those of you with the traits I'm looking for to hand over your sex cells. Gents get the jerk off in a cup, and ladies get a dose of synthetic hormones and a giant needle shoved up the cooch. Ain't that just the way of the world, though? What are you talking about? What do you mean that's not how it works with clowns? Uh-huh. Really? Look, whatever. I obviously need a brush on my clown biology, but rest assured that when the time comes, I'll be collecting the required biological materials via the appropriate method. So it's something to look forward to, except maybe for you, Sticky Icky. Yes, Mr. Fuller, I realize it's not what you paid me for. I'm not going to mangle your merchandise. You're going to have Tinkles do the actual collecting. It's that top hat cutting off your circulation to your brain. He's a fucking clown. I'm an expert here, you sorry excuse for a Ringling Brothers themed birthday party. And if I say any part of this operation requires me to handle it personally, then Fuller, tell your bodyguard to sit back down. Tell him to sit down. Just hold on 1 second there, buddy. Hey, get your filthy mitts off of me, you upside down faced goon. Put me down. Oh, I'm glad we're taking this outside. You don't scare me. I'm taking down bigger morons than you. Do you all hear that? I ain't scared of none of you freaks. Fuck you. You can't treat me like this. I'm Richard Cunnilingus Normus. My God, that hurt my throat doing that voice the entire time. Oh my God. Yeah, that's why I was coughing so much. Just give me a moment. Ugh. I haven't done that voice in a while. Ugh, my throat feels so much better. Alright. The next opening act. Icky and Ichabod. This was going to be a problem if the strike team couldn't take a Type Green out by surprise. Their contingency was overwhelming firepower. Alright. So yes. Icky and Ichabod. Suburbs of Salem, Oregon, 1988. It was raining, but only gently, the sound of it falling on her umbrella no more than a soothing pitter-patter. The air was cool and crisp, the sky gray but not dark, and water drops that hung from the pine branches like glass baubles, while the songbirds fluffed themselves in the natural shadow. This is a pretty little neighborhood, don't you think? He asked as she strolled down the sidewalk, the violet coloring of her face subdued to avoid drawing notice to her isomorphic nature. It's still humdrum territory. Don't get too comfortable. Manny replied gruffly, a scarf and hat hiding his upside-down face. Oh, you're so grumpy. You should take me scanning with you more often. I've got better people skills. With my help, you probably wouldn't have to stuff so many kids in sacks. She joked, giving him a playful yawn. I do not stuff kids into sacks.
He claimed, though his guilty tone made it clear that statement was only technically true. Look, if you can talk this kid into coming with us willingly, super. But remember, the main reason I brought you here is backup. Child reality benders are unpredictable, and we can't risk attracting attention while we're out in the open like this.
Don't worry. I'm great with kids, especially magic kids.
She assured him.
I'll turn this girl into a 5-star act in no time.
They turned a corner and came up a smaller park with a lone girl riding along the play equipment, talking to herself in a loud, pontificating voice. At first, Ikki thought it was odd that the girl was playing in the rain, but then realized that it wasn't raining inside of the park.
That's her?
She smiled. That's He nodded. I'll let you take the lead. The two of them walked towards the front gates and saw that they were locked. A sign had been hung reading Royal Kingdom of Queen Sophie. Go away. Inside the park was littered with countless toys and candy wrappers, buoyant balloons and bobbled up and down, and a fountain full of chocolate milk.
It's like a little clown alley in there.
Ikki smirked.
Excuse me, may we speak with Queen Sophie, please? Who dares intrude upon the greatest sorcerer queen in all the land?
The queen demanded, marching towards the entrance with the plastic staff in hand. She was a redhead, maybe about 8 years old, and looked like she hadn't had a bath for some time. Her sparkling tutu and Gerber t-shirt was covered in dirt and chocolate, and quite possibly other brown substances as well.
Just a humble circus performer, Your Majesty, and her companion,
Ikki replied with a polite courtesy.
You'll kneel if you don't wish to face my wrath.
Sophie frightened, followed by a loud burp. Ikki humoured her without hesitation, but Mimi and Granny had a tad more reluctant.
I said kneel, Fullerly.
Just what we need, another high-maintenance reality bender. He murmured as he dropped to one knee.
Now explain why you have interrupted my eternal playtime.
Sophie ordered.
Of course, Your Majesty. We're from a community of magical people like yourself, and I'm the only magical girl in the world.
Sophie screamed, partly in pride, partly in pain.
Do you really think that?
Ikki asked.
Is that why you're all alone in there? I think people are scared of me. Kids, my parents, even the police and soldiers in the black ran from me.
She explained.
It's better if I just stay here.
Manny pulled down his scarf to reveal his upside-down face. Sophie eyed them both with cautious optimism.
You're really magic?
She asked softly.
Yes, and we're from a place full of magic people.
Ikki told her.
A place where people won't be scared of you, where you can have friends again, where you'll be safe and loved and learn how to become even better at magic. Have you heard of the X-Men? It's kind of like that, except that we're not superheroes. Just a circus. Are you a clown?
Sophie asked, her eyes wide with wonder.
I am. Do you like clowns?
Ikki asked with a wide smile. The girl nodded.
Well, if you want to come back with us, you can see the most talented clowns in all the worlds. We could help you with your magic.
If you're really good, we might even... A bullet whizzed through one side of Sophie's skull and out the other. As her body hit the ground, all her balloons floated away. Her chocolate fountain ran dry, and the rain fell unhindered inside the box. No! Icky screamed as she broke through the gates and rushed to Sophie's side, cradling her in her arms. Sophie, 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 sweetie, wake up. Please wake up, Sophie. She applied her magic as best as she could. There was nothing she could do.
Scoop her up and let's go. It's that you don't see. We've got to get out of here.
Manny shouted. Icky glanced at the crumbled bullet on the ground and saw that it was silver-tipped brilliance and bronze with a layer of telekill and an iron collar, with a warning microgrids engraved into each layer. It was unjust global coalition, but the Ichiban campaign. They had killed tens of thousands of reality benders over the decades. Mostly like this, a sniper shooting down a child before they had any chance to fight back, or going on to become a serious threat to becoming anything. Icky howled in rage, pulling a tetherball post out of the ground for a weapon. She sped off in the direction the bullets had come from.
Veronica, no! It's suicide, Veronica!
Manny's increasingly distant voice pleaded. As enraged as she wasn't suicidal. She kept at top speed, never ran straight for more than a couple of seconds, and waited behind any cover she could find. She couldn't manipulate those bullets with her telekinesis. If enough of them got inside of her, that impeded her magic too much for her to heal. Single shot to the brain or heart would kill her for sure. This was going to be a problem. The Shrek team couldn't take a typed crane out by surprise. The contingency was overwhelming firepower. Icky headed for the highest point along the bullet's trajectory. On top of the small hill, she saw the outline of 10 cloaked Cheetos Shrek team members. The rain giving away the position, the sniper was still trying to get the lock on her. The rest of them were clearly holding assault rifles at the ready. She pulled out a deck of trick cards and threw them all at the Shrek team before leaping down a manhole into the sewers. She knew their battle dress had some reality anchoring and anti-thaumaturgical protections as their bullets did, so she didn't aim for them directly. Instead, all 54 cards hit the pavement surrounding the Shrek team with so much kinetic energy that enormous amounts of concrete shrapnel went flying in all directions at deadly velocity. She heard the men screaming in surprise, pain, and then anger. At least one was still in good enough condition to bark orders at the rest, but she was willing to bet she incapacitated at least a few of them. They'd have their guns pointed at many manholes or sewage grates around them, so she headed to the next manhole that still gave her a clear line of sight. She lifted it just a little and saw 6 remaining Shrek team members standing in defensive back-to-back formation, visible from either being covered in concrete debris or their stealth units having been damaged. She threw the manhole cover with so much force that it decapitated one of the goggles and likely killed the team member directly behind him. She rapidly ducked under the gunfire of the remaining Shrek team but made no attempt to hide. After only seconds of running, she heard the rifles sputter impotently as they exhausted the magazines.
Reload! Reload!
The commander shouted, but Eki had already removed him for the kill. She struck him across the head with a tetherball post, scoring yet another decapitation. It seemed appropriate given the name Ichiban. The last 3 reached for her sidearms, but she dropped to the ground and took out their legs, with one sweep at the post and impaled it through the chest of one of them, kicked off the head of another, and jumped to the third and began mercilessly pounding his head to the ground beneath with her fist.
Fuck you, you evil fucking kid killing, evil fucking genocidal, evil fucking Nazi, evil fucking bastards. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
She screamed until there was no score left and she was just punching the pavement. She hung her head and began to sob, but then heard a groan coming from behind her. One of the strike team members, the second one to have gotten hit by the manhole cover, was still alive. His visor had been shattered, and Iggy could now see the man's eyes, one blue and one green. At that, she noticed Orchid. She pulled the tadpole post out of the corpse's collapsed chest and swung up the tension of collapsing the survivor's skull. The moment it made contact, it turned to sand in her hand. Taken aback, she stepped away from the man, unsure of what just happened.
Did you do that?
She asked softly. The man took off his now useless helmet, shaking dust and sand off his blonde hair. The two of them quickly became stained with crimson streaks as the rain around them turned to blood, and she had no doubt it was his doing.
Traitor!
She screamed, lunging and tear out his trachea. Without moving, he shifted out of her path, as if he had never been there at all. With a single motion of his fist, he called down a bolt of lightning to end her for the good. True to form, Icky merely spasmed with an illuminated skeleton. It survived with nothing worse than some singed hair and clothes.
Well, that's a fuss.
The man muttered.
What's it gonna take to put you down, Jugs?
He reached for his sidearm, only to find it wasn't there. Icky had snatched it as she ran past him and was now aiming it straight at him. She fired knowing he was powerless against the magic tech bullets as she was. She had taken him by surprise. This might have worked, but instead the blood rain ran before him, instantly congealed into a jello wall nearly 2 feet thick, more than enough to stop the bullets. Screaming in frustration, she threw the gun down and jumped over the wall, only to find that the man was gone, or rather, he now stood where she had been a month ago, smoking a cigarette.
You know, I really, really fucking hate it when you freaks make me use my own abomination against you.
He said.
It's just so fucking hypocritical. I prefer to think of myself as a man of integrity.
She charged at him again, this time slipping on the blood it congealed around her and strapped her to the ground, constricting around her torso like an anaconda. She couldn't summon enough strength to break free, nor enough magic to overpower whatever it was he was doing to her. It was getting harder to believe.
It should take the bullet, sweet cheeks. This isn't gonna be pleasant.
There was still one thing she could do. As much as she hated being a damsel in distress, it was definitely preferable to being dead.
Hey,
She croaked out.
have you ever heard of the man with an upside down face at the Circus of the Disquieting?
The man with the right up face scoffed at the nonsensical question, but went pale as he recognized the feeling of something foreign probing around inside his mind.
Hello, friends.
Whispered a voice with no actual sound.
Then he's heard about you.
Icky smiled. Info hazard. She had exposed him to some kind of info hazard. His heart rate shot up as he tried to think of what to do, and he wasn't prepared for this kind of threat. The man with an upside down face was inside of his head, looking for anything that he could use against him. And it didn't take him long to find it. The man suddenly the goddess Francis lived in constant fear of.
No, that wasn't true. He loved Lily. He knew he loved Lily.
The man saw the suspect of the unending criticisms, the vicious insults,
Because he wasn't good enough. If he could just be a person she deserved, she would be nicer.
The man saw the attacks, the punishments, the mutilations.
His fault. His fault. It's all his fault.
The man even saw when she'd raped him and did exactly what he had always feared if anyone ever found out. He laughed. The laughter of the man with the upside-down face echoed through Francis' skull. It was all he could hear. The man laughed at Francis' helplessness, and his weakness was his failure at being a man. The man laughed at how pathetic Francis was beneath his tough guile facade. The man laughed and laughed and laughed until Francis' smile was nothing else but the laughter and the deafening, ego-destroying thoughts. The rain had turned to water again. Kitty was free, and the treacherous doctor had collapsed into a fatal procession on the ground, blanketed by an impenetrable, kinetic cocoon. He was rocking back and forth while clutching his head and sobbing, begging Lily not to hurt him. Icky moved and smashed the cocoon to finish him, but heard Minnie's voice in her mind telling her to leave him be and run. As much as he hated to leave a goggle breathing, he had nearly killed her. It was probably for the best. To take a chance to escape, but she had it. Even so, she spat on him before she ran. Several hours later, Icky knelt over the shallow grave she and Millie had dug for Sophie, and melted to a natural forest. She had transfigured the boulder into a proper tombstone. It read,
Here lies Queen Sophie, age unknown but far too young, victim of Ichiban genocide. May she find peace in what lies beyond this world, and may her loss forever remind us why we fight against the book burners. Sleep sweetly, Your Majesty. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Icky wept.
Many knelt beside her and put his arm around her, wiping her tears as she lay his hand against them. It's nice. It's a nice headstone. I'm sure she would have liked it, he said softly. Even though I don't approve of you risking your life like that. It's nice you were able to avenge her, and that there are 9 less book burners in the world. You won't be able to kill any more freaks.
What about the last one? The traitor?
She asked. He won't remember us. I took that away. And he replied. But he was too powerful for me to do any lasting damage. I hope we don't ever cross paths with him again. We have some serious issues.
What was that? Okay. That was weird. Anyways. I don't give a shit what his excuse is. He's a monster.
He hissed, but then let down an exhausted sigh.
Thanks for saving my ass back there. I owe you one.
You'd have done the same for me. And he nodded. Well, we should get going. If we're not back at the circus soon, Fuller might send Stretchy after us. Icky nodded, softly kissing her fingertips and touching them to the gravestone. The freak and the clown rose to their feet, leaving
gently yet lovingly made grave in peace amongst the dripping pine needles and gently falling rain. Well, that was depressing. But yeah, that was it of Icky and Ichiban. Odd. Take another sip of drink. Alright. Hey. On to the next opening act. Upside down cake. I can't tell you how much pleasure it gives me to finally see your face the right way up after all these years. Sit. Trying to figure out. Upside down cake. So, how about this? You shut up like a normal Daredevil routine. There's a guy with a motorcycle.
Warning.
Jesus!
Do not follow the great Dr. Bright on Twitch.
Fucking hell!
Worst mistake imaginable. I repeat, do not follow the great Dr. Bright on Twitch.
That scared the shit out of me. But thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follow. What's your name? Oversized Adversary 29. I appreciate it. So with that, alert, a final alert should be turned off. Alright. That way it doesn't interrupt the story. Anywho, let me start over again. Upside down cake. So, hello, bad dish. We shut up like a normal Daredevil routine. Watch the guy on the motorcycle jumping over the audience member. And I'm the plant bitch. He flies off the ground, but he doesn't have enough speed. He's gonna crash into me. I scream, the whole audience scream. Everyone screams. Then the last second, I opened the widest one of the hole. What you think? Mother Math was in the break room of Clown Alley, the little trailer outside the big troop that housed the circus' entire clown population. Of course, it was only a little on the outside. The clowns had converted the trailer into an orthotrope, giving them plenty of hyperdimensional living space. Most of the other circus folk found the place impossible to navigate, but for some reason, Math had always had a head for it. Barney, your act is dangerous enough. When someone's holding your mouth open, it's too risky for you to open up at the last second. I can't get a clown trope later to consult them. But that's what people want, the danger.
he insisted. Just dropping a spectacle of the death-defying act.
Yeah, tell me, death-defying act if you don't actually die.
Eugene said as he put a tiny envelope on the comically large sandwich he had spent the last several minutes preparing.
I doubt Herman would want to risk it, given how many people we lost already. Dixie, Stretchy, and Madam Rosada, all nabbed by the SCP plus Maskey. Ken and I don't know their other goo just went AWOL, so God knows he will AWOL.
Don't forget Virtuoso.
He added solemnly, staring sadly at her glass of milk.
I want it, Icky.
Eugene said sympathetically, sitting next to Motormouth and setting his sandwich onto the table.
Hey, thanks, boy.
Motormouth said as he quickly placed the whole sandwich into his mouth and into his second stomach. Eugene glared at him in a cold rage for several seconds before the freak started laughing.
I'm just kidding.
He reached into his mouth and retrieved the sandwich completely intact and placed it on the plate. Eugene hardly seemed pleased.
You disgust.
He said with a sad shake of his head. I thought cons only ate candy.
I put honey mustard on.
The three of them all covered their ears as the statically screech of the circus antiquated PA system crackled. The third dinner.
Attention. All Herman Fuller employees are to report to Ringmaster's tent immediately for a very important announcement.
Herman's father's.
Wrong place.
Attention. All Herman former employees are Ringmaster's tent immediately for a very important.
Herman's father's voice boomed all around them.
Have a peace. All employees report to the Ringmaster's tent at once. No exceptions.
He does not sound happy.
Vicky murmured anxiously. Come on, guys, we don't want to be late. He might set us on fire. Eugene hastily scribbled the note, reading. Eugene's touched it and faced by fury. Placed it on his sandwich and followed the other two aside. They saw everyone had taken Herman's announcement seriously, as a large crowd had already assembled in front of the ringmaster's tent. The small stage had been erected with a drawn curtain, considering it was no doubt an unwelcome surprise. Everyone seemed to be ill at ease, with a few furtive murmurs being only the sound of the ominous quiet. Watermouth ducked off to join the other rigs, whereas Ricky took her place at the front of the clams.
Any of you know what this is about?
She asked.
Must be something big to call everyone out.
Pierce replied.
It's really something good.
It's not bad. Name one time it was good.
Eugene replied.
Well, there was a time he introduced us to Dixie.
How was that good? Dixie was a jerk who treated us like cattle.
But then we got to see Manny beat him up. That wasn't too bad.
Mention of the man with the upside down face caused Evie to notice that he was nowhere to be seen.
Where is Manny?
She asked. Before anyone could answer, Herman Fuller strode onto the stage, and none dared to utter even the slightest peep. The tall, skinny beanpole of the man looked unusually forlorn. His head hung low, and a handkerchief tightly clutched in his hand.
I'm afraid I have some terrible news.
He said, dabbing his crocodile tears with a handkerchief.
That's not my freewheelers, my sweet innocent and helpless little freewheelers were murdered.
The crowd remains deathly silent. Everyone hated the freewheelers, the animated doll tricycle things Herman had used to spy on and torment them, but they feared how they might be punished for this new act of rebellion.
No, I didn't call you here for a thing. I know exactly who's responsible. I called you here because I've known for some time that the freewheelers were no longer adequate for protecting our family. And so I set to work on developing replacements for you, for them. Now seems to be a good time for their debut as ever. So, without further ado, I give you the penny farthings.
The curtains revealed the ring mist flew open, and out rode a procession of 24 penny farthing bicycles mounted by ghastly creatures. Each rider looked like a human circuitry system made from twisted, rusted wires. Their arms are long enough to touch the ground, and their dangling necks are too weak to support their heads upright, so instead they just drooped. The crowd murmured in fear and shock as the penny farthings formed a perimeter around them, fencing them in.
We can all sleep a little easier now knowing that we have the penny farthings to protect us from anything, enemies from without and within.
He pulled the curtain behind him, and revealing the man with an upside-down face, hanging upside down by his ankles, his arms bound and his mouth gagged.
Who's strung up now?
He asked him with a smugly satisfied grin.
Penny!
Yumi screamed in horror, the flowers of her hair instantly wilting.
Herman, let him go.
Speak out of turn again, child, and I'll throw you to the clowns.
Herman threatened. Yumi immediately hushed. She glanced over to the clowns, expecting them to be licking their chops, but instead they looked just as uncertain and horrified as everyone else here. Herman turned back to Manny and smiled.
Well, old friend, I can't tell you how much pleasure it gives me to finally see your face the right way up after all these years. Oh, we've had our good times, it's true. What you've done is quite unforgivable. And what sort of leader would I be to let such a senseless and wanton crime go unpunished?
But you can't kill him.
Yumi screamed, tears pulling into her eyes.
Oh, my dear, sweet Yumi, I'm not going to kill him. All of you are.
He said with a wicked smile.
I snuck into the cookhouse this morning and placed a little bit of cotton candy into the oatmeal.
Oh no. Oh no.
They looked as she and everyone else realized what was going to happen.
Oh, yes, Mr. Brenneman. Play upside down king.
Herman ordered over the cotton candy kiosk. A disfigured Tom Brenneman proudly displayed the paper roll of mesmerizing music, with South playing Calliope. No one other than Herman knew for sure what the cotton candy wrapped around their nervous systems would make them do when it heard the song Upside Down Kick. and Iggy had no intention of finding out. Acting was almost on instinct. She drew out the deck of her cards. All 54 cards were engulfed in a red aura and went flying towards Tom. Fortunately for him, Iggy was merciful and did no mortal damage, but the paper load was destroyed beyond any hope of use. She immediately called the cards back to her and held them around herself in the defensive perimeter as she crouched in preparations for an inevitable attack.
Icky.
Herman screamed, sounding generally shocked.
How could you? How could you?
Father, there's no reason this has to go any further. Just let Manny go. You know how vital he is. There's no circus without Manny.
Is that so? In case you forgot, it's Herman's Fuller Circus up to disquieting. I feed you, clothe you, house you, protect you from the SCP and GOC and the Insurgency. And this is how you repay me.
You burn Virtuoso alive, you son of a bitch.
She spat on him. Herman shook his head sadly.
It would truly be a shame to lose such a lovely and talented performer as yourself. But if that's how you feel, first clown to bring me her heart is the new troop leader.
Herman seemed to expect the clowns to jump on her like she was made out of candy, but not one of them budged.
None of you, after all I've done for you.
You let that bastard Dixie breed us like animals.
Dr. Tinkles had yelled. You'll put us all in danger by trying to steal from MCD. Mouth cried.
You left Piers and me to rot in an abandoned hub with a feral fun lover.
Eugene howled.
Well, in my defense, you never finished telling me how you got away from there.
Herman counted.
It was a little disappointing, to be honest.
We are sick of your bullshit, Herman.
Vicky declared.
We're not gonna let you kill us, or mind control us, or bully us with these abominations of yours anymore.
The entire circus cheered in support.
I am giving you one chance, Fuller. Let Manny go, or I kill you.
Herman glared at her with utter contempt, and she knew this wasn't going to end peacefully.
Penny fathers. Have at them.
He ordered. The green fire flared up inside the chest of each penny farthing. Smoke and flame wafting out of every opening. They howled as if in maddening pain, and began assaulting the crowd in a wild frenzy.
Clowns, take them down. Jam their spokes.
He spouted, throwing her cars at each trusted monstrosity's enormous front wheel.
Freaks, get Manny free. Elfie, unleash the fun levers.
All obeyed her orders without fail. The clowns, so often viewed by the freaks and colonies as otherworldly monsters, rushed to put themselves between the penny fighters and the innocent. Though they were dealt many blows, they did not cry or bleed, but instead only squeaked like chewed toys. As clearly both frustrated and confused their attackers, the clowns grabbed whatever was at hand and shoved it between the penny farthing spokes, sending them toppling over. Soon stopped them, however, as they still clawed their way along the ground, lashing at anyone within reach of their distended and mangled limbs. Seeing that their cars were having minimal effect on the creatures, Iggy grabbed a sledgehammer, normally used for driving tent spikes into the ground. She put the tool to work, smashing the toppled cyclist into scrap metal. The others soon followed her example. Watermouth reached down his throat and pulled out his submachine gun. He unleashed a hail of bullets upon Fuller, only for him to catch them all with his teeth and spit them back at the crowd like he was a human Gatling gun. Once he had exhausted his ammo, the Flicks stormed the stage, ready to tear them from them. Herman whistled, calling 1 penny farthings to him. He leaped onto his back and rolled it into the den of Flicks. He came out only seconds later, wielding a cutlass, one of many swords reserved for swallowing, throwing, and for sticking it into a human pincushion, ready to call down rebels like he was repeating wheat. Some of the freaks ran after him anyway, while others rushed out of Manny, slicing through the bonds with whatever they could find.
Manny, are you okay?
Emily asked as she removed the gag from his mouth. Via the kaleidoscope, dialed up a door to the darkness. He replied as he rose to his feet. He's getting the slowest death possible. Alfie zigged and sagged through the chaos, ducking attacks and dodging friendly fire, until he reached the funhouse. Throwing open the emergency exit, he shouted,
It's mute. It's mutiny. We'll take him down full.
He was grabbed from behind by Penny Farthing, the metal in his hands piercing through his clothes and into his skin. The creature hoisted him into the air. His trusted hand poised to rip his heart out of his chest when a familiar noise came from the funhouse.
Wowee.
Mortimer screamed as he came flying out of the exit. He shapeshifted into an enormous pink gorilla with a bow tie and tore the rider from his mount. He grabbed it by his arm and began beating it against the ground in a rapid orgy of violence.
Mortimer, you'd be careful not to hit anyone, would you?
Ripley asked as she and Bailey strode out of the funhouse in their tall humanoid forms. She stuck out her leg and toppled a penny farthing as it whizzed by.
Since this is a mutiny, should we assume pirate forms? That's a little predictable, don't you think?
Bailey asked the penny farthing. Mortimer had dismounted, escaped his grasp, and launched itself at Bailey. Bailey grabbed its head and crushed it in his hand. Come now, Mortimer. You can't be so careless with your playthings.
Intercomp.
He chanted as he bashed another penny farthing into pieces.
Well, he seems to have these boys under control. What do you suppose we should do?
Bailey asked.
I'd collect the Kraken.
Ripley suggested.
That's unflankable. You'll always say that.
Because it's always true. The artillery just what relates to the Kraken, so you get shot. Unleash the Kraken. Do you honestly think there's a situation where unleashing the Kraken would solve the more problems that it would cause?
I don't know, because we never let it out. Frankly, your assumption that it would automatically be a disaster is prejudiced against colossal mythical sea creatures. For all we know, the Kraken could be a great conflict resolution. The conversation was briefly interrupted due to Ripley being decapitated by a passing Herman Fuller. A cutlass. Well, I guess we ended up going with a pirate thing after all.
Bailey Ripley dear, are you alright?
What?
Mortimer chased after Holloman in a fury, tearing up the ground with his fist as he went. Herman grunted his penny farthing additional speed as he tore through the fairgrounds, trying to find Iggy and the chaos. He thought that if he killed her, then maybe, just maybe, he could quell this rebellion. Her and anyone else who dared to speak out against him. Once they were strung up in humanity, everyone would know their price for betraying Herman Fuller, who then would choose to defy him if it meant an eternal living death. There in the center of the battle, he saw her, surrounded by clowns and freaks alike. They were showing no less of his penny farthings. Pushing his mask even harder, Fuller raced towards her, so focused was he upon his quarry that he didn't see the man with the upside-down face accost him from the side, ramming a tent pole through the spokes of his penny farthing's front wheel. Herman was thrown through the air and high arc, his sword still in hand, ready to impale whoever got between him and the ground.
Eugene, open him wide.
Mickey shouted as he grabbed the inside Mortimer's right cheek. Eugene grabbed the left, and together they pulled his mouth nearly 10 feet. Herman flew right down his gullet and into his second stomach. And look, was wild. Mortimer shouted, raising his arms in triumph. Indeed, the crowd burst in victorious cheering at the sight of Herman's defeat.
You got him?
Manny asked as he rushed to meet them, having successfully destroyed the last penny farthing.
Manny!
Icky hugged him tightly, with several of the others joining in.
We'll celebrate later. This isn't finished yet.
He said. Yeah, it's not a long-term solution, Mortimer agreed. I know my stomach can take a lot of punishment, but I'm worried that any second he might come bursting out like an alien.
Your kaleidoscope is spun up, Manny.
Yummy
said. Where are we sending him?
Icky asked. The darkness. Icky smiled and nodded in agreement. The four of them ran the kaleidoscope, where a door was already waiting, unlike the usual doors which were bright, white, and smoky and filled with kaleidoscope music. This one led only to a black abyss.
On 3.
And he said,
1, 2, 3.
he and Icky stretched open Aromar's pie hole, and on cue he regurgitated Herman Fowler straight into the darkness between dimensions. As he screamed in rage, his top head fell off his head, landing upon the floor.
Good riddance.
Manny said grimly.
Get your damn hands off of me, you freaks.
Tom shouted as Eugene and Pierce dragged him towards the kaleidoscope.
What do you want to do with them, Annie?
Eugene asked. Manny chuckled and placed a hand on Tom's shoulder. Tom. You just can't get ahead now, can you? Yeah, toss him in with Bola.
What? No, wait. Manny, I'm sorry. Please, no.
With a good toss, he was lost to the darkness. Icky sat himself down on the kaleidoscope steps, burying her head into her hands, overwhelmed by enormity of what had just happened.
Guys, give us a minute to talk, alright?
Manny asked. Sure thing. Mortimer nodded as he, Yumi, and two clowns gave them some privacy. Manny knelt down and picked up Foda's top hat.
Thank you.
He sat sitting beside her.
For a minute there, I really thought I was gonna be eaten alive by my own freaks.
I couldn't let him do that. Not because of what I said about this circus needing you either. You're my oldest friend here. You're my best friend. You're the closest thing to family I have now. I guess you know that.
I don't always understand what I see in people's minds. When I was a kid, I loved Herman like a father. I thought he loved me like a son. I was wrong.
Well, I love you like a brother. I hope that's what you see when you look at me.
Yes.
He nodded with a warm smile. Icky let out a long, exasperated sigh.
I can't believe all that really happened, Manny. What are we gonna do? We can't close the circus.
Don't worry. We won't, don't worry. Herman didn't do anything but bark orders, spend money, and kill people. I can run the circus fine without him. Better.
Does that mean you're gonna be a ringmaster?
Manny chuckled at the suggestion.
No, I don't think I have the face for it. Ringmaster should be a little easier on the eyes. Someone's a good performer, good leader.
He placed the top hat upon her head.
can't be serious.
Why not? You've been here almost 40 years. You know the circus inside and out. Clowns love you, and anyone else who's not afraid of clowns loves you. I love you. It's basically the same as being the troop leader. Just for the whole circus.
So, how would that work? What would you be?
I'd be the man with an upside down face. Same as always. We can hammer out the details later. But for the most part, I'd run back of the house. You'd run the front of the house. And we have to come to an agreement on anything else. We can split the circus profits 50-50. How's that sound?
Give thought for a moment. I don't want to run things like Fuller did. If we do this right. For now on, this is a proper, respectable business. No more indentured workers, no more corporal punishment, no more murders. We stop treating this place like a prison and start treating it like a home.
That's how it should have been from the start.
Manny nodded.
We have a deal then.
Do we still call it Herman Fuller's Circus of Disquieting?
Well, his name is on literally everything. Awful as he was, this place wouldn't exist without him. I'm willing to let him have his legacy.
I can live with that. Vicky nodded. So what sounds better, Ringmaster or Ringmistress?
I'd go with Ringmaster, just because I know how much it would irk Fuller to have a title taken from him.
Ringmaster it is.
She smiled, hopping toward her feet.
Come on, let's tell everyone that Herman's gone forever.
She dashed out to the tent, but before many followed her, he paused at the door that had thrown Fuller through. He thought about the darkness, thought about everything he knew about Fuller, thought about everything he didn't know about Fuller, and knew that he wasn't really gone forever.
Well, long enough at least.
He said to himself with a smirk. He shut the kaleidoscope down and went to everyone to celebrate with the others.
Well, I guess Herman Fuller's gone. Gone. Damn. That was upside down cake. Alright. Before I go. Alright. I'm gonna go on. Before I go to the next story, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay?